Hey there, petpreneurs. Tori here. Let's talk about making real connections. On October 9th, I am hosting the very first Petpreneur virtual networking event, and it's totally free. If you've never been to a virtual networking event, this is the perfect time to try it out. You'll get to meet other pet business owners in small, relaxed breakout rooms where everyone gets a chance to share, connect, and find collaborators. No more sending cold emails out into the void. This is your chance to find real partners who understand your unique pet business. RSVP now at wearwagrepeat.com/petworking to save your free spot. And let's kick off Q4 strong together.
Networking is the secret sauce to any business, right? Like when you're working, especially when you're working for yourself, you only really focus on the client. We don't think outside the box sometimes of how we can expand our reach and how we can, level ourselves even with our competitors just by being open to the opportunity to collaborate and network.
Hi, I'm Tori Mystic, and you're listening to the Wear, Wag, Repeat podcast, the only show dedicated to supporting women in all areas of the pet industry. Hey, Tori here. So when I mentioned today's podcast guest's name in a room full of petpreneurs, something really cool happened. The room started buzzing, and I'm talking about a virtual room, but still, it was buzzing with chatter. Someone said, "Did you see that big event she hosted in Atlanta with really big name sponsors? How did she do that? Did you see the pitch competition that she hosted at Super Zoo? That was so amazing. Did you see the pet industry vacation that she is organizing for 2025? All those things are being organized by Lashonda Geffrard. She is the founder of the Black Pet Business Network, and I am so excited to have her as my first podcast guest of Q4 to kick off our conversations about collaboration and networking. In this conversation, Lashonda shares how she came up with the idea for Black Pet Business Network when she was looking to connect with grooming shop owners during the pandemic to see how they were running their businesses amidst the shutdowns and quarantines. After listening to this interview, it will be no surprise to you that her network took off because Lashonda is an amazing networker. I want you to pay attention to this episode because she explains 3 actionable tips on how to improve your own networking skills. 1, be authentically you. 2, think outside the box with who you want to network with. And 3, have a strategy before you walk in the door. You'll hear great pet industry specific examples and ideas and anecdotes from her own business and other businesses that she has helped along the way. But I want to give you a little heads up because about 6 minutes into this interview, something crazy happened. We were not expecting this. Well, kind of. I guess Lashonda had mentioned to me when we hit record that her Dalmatian, Penny, was pregnant and she was due to give birth any day. She decided that 6 minutes into our recording would be the perfect time to start having her new puppies. So we had to pause this interview and then resume it later after she'd given birth to, I think, 5 puppies. And while we were recording the second half of the interview, Penny had 2 more puppies. So I think they finished out with 7, maybe 8 beautiful Dalmatian puppies. So congratulations on that, Lashonda. I know you're very excited to be a grand dog mom. And I thank you so much for taking the time to still teach us about networking and connecting and collaborating with other pet business owners while so much exciting stuff was happening at your home that day. So without further ado, check out this episode, and I hope that you take our challenge at the end and start to reach out and maybe even DM Lashonda. Now you can tell her congrats on the puppies, and you can start to broaden your network and expand your partnerships within the pet industry. Enjoy this. Lashonda Geffrard, CEO and visionary founder of Black Pet Business Network, is dedicated to revolutionizing the workforce in the pet industry. With 18 plus years of experience, Lashonda's passion for career and professional advancement for people of color is evident in every aspect of her work. Through advocacy, education, and community building, Lashonda aims to create new opportunities for advancement, recognition, and success for Black professionals and entrepreneurs in all sectors of the pet industry. Her unwavering commitment to empowerment and advocacy serves as a catalyst for change, inspiring individuals within the industry to embrace diversity and work towards a brighter, more equitable future for all. Hi, Lashonda.
Hey, how are you, girl? So great
I,
to have this conversation with you today.
I'm so happy to have you on the podcast because we're always kind of DMing each other and commenting on stuff. And we've gone live before, but we needed to make it official, podcast official.
Absolutely. I'm so honored to be here. So, you're definitely a mover, shaker, and leader in this space. So it's always an honor to have the opportunity to speak with you.
Well, I could say the exact same thing about you. You're always inspiring me. And so we're here today to talk about networking and collaboration and partnerships, which you are amazing at. I mean, your business is called the Black Pet Business Network. So you got to be good at networking. So I guess the first question would be, I think that we spend so much time in our businesses thinking about how are we going to reach customers? How are we going to get the word out? How are we going to attract new people? And those people are always customers that we're trying to attract. So why is it important to also connect and network with other business owners?
Yeah, I think honestly, networking is the secret sauce to any business, right? So, we think of it from like when you're working, especially when you're working for yourself, you only really focus on the client. You know, we don't think outside the box sometimes of how we can expand our reach and how we can, level ourselves, even with our competitors, just by being open to the opportunity to collaborate and network. One thing we love to say in our community is community over competition. And, networking will get you so far. The power of networking is insane, especially when you master it. There is honestly no strategic rhyme or rhythm. Everyone's company is different. Everyone's brand speaks to a specific audience. And being able to connect with people who are like-minded in and outside of your space is super, super important. So, having that balance is definitely the secret sauce, and networking is essential.
Well, I think that's really important to point out that it's all about like finding like-minded people. They don't necessarily have to do the same thing that you do. And actually, they don't even necessarily have to be in the pet industry, but it just has to be someone with a like-minded approach to collaborate instead of viewing people as competition.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, for example, we recently launched our business accelerator program. Woohoo! And we have our it's a virtual program, but we meet usually 2 to 3 times a week with our cohort. And it's a small cohort. It's about 3 ladies right now, and they're all dynamic, phenomenal female entrepreneurs. And we were meeting last night and we were essentially talking about networking, right? And one of the companies, Danielle Gray, her company is called Peace and Wellness for Dogs, and it's a CBD treat line. And we were just encouraging her to think outside the box. Don't think just in who you can network with in the pet space, right? But who can you network with outside of the pet space? Just reaching different communities and reaching a different demographic of people that you might not think of, right? People with and without dogs, so finding new avenues to expand. For example, one of the strategies we told her, I never say it right, but I believe it's distilleries. But they have CBD distilleries. And I know it's not legal in every state. However, she has a CPG product that's dynamic. I was like, you can network with the distilleries and see about putting your pet product in their stores, right? Because of course, people, their audience, they understand the benefits, they understand how it works for them, and probably 9 times out of 10, they have a dog or cat who can utilize that product. And to be able to have your product in a store that's strictly for people and have like a little pet line there, it's really thinking out of the box versus going to a pet store and now you're competing, right, with all the other CBD brands, so on and so forth.
So, Lashonda, you talked about reaching out for partnerships that are kind of outside of the box, but like, how exactly should people reach out? Because I think that people get a little bit thrown off. Reach out, do this. That all sounds great, but like, exactly how? So, are you talking emailing people? I know I get so many cold emails that some are better than others. And then, following people on social media is great, but how do we take it to the next level? So, like, what is the best way to reach out to people who are like part of your network or outside of your world for these kinds of collaborations and partnerships?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll give you three actionable strategies, right? And you can apply these principles to any situation when it comes to networking. Number one, be your authentic self, right? Whomever that is, however choose to, you want to identify to the world, be that boldly, be that proudly, represent your brand to the best of your abilities and be unafraid. People are going to love you and, understand that not everyone's gonna like you, but be bold and be confident, right? In that. So be your authentic self. Number two is because you're thinking outside of the box, don't be afraid to step outside of the box with that, not just with your thoughts, right? So if you are thinking, hey, I want to network, go to network meetups, submerge yourself in their community, find out where, they're hanging out, any events, you'd be so surprised when you're and it's a brand, I would say it's a strategic partners, right? It all will make sense. So we're going to use Danielle, for example. With her, if you have a CBD pet line, you want to get into the CBD community, right? Go where the humans are, right? Don't just stay in the pet space. If there's any like baking events or, any type of festivals, anything that highlights or showcases what you're doing that's in alignment with your brand, don't be afraid to present yourself in that space, still being genuine and authentically you, but step into that, right? And, be unafraid. Thirdly, have a strategy. So I would say if you're very comfortable just walking into a place and say, hey, my name's Lashonda and I'm the founder of this CBD company. I would love to share some products with you. Do you mind if I leave a couple samples? Or hey, do you mind if I, email the manager? Just have a strategy. And there's no right or wrong way to how your strategy is. You just have to be fully committed to it. Even just leading people to your social media, just saying, hey, you should just give me a follow so you can learn more about my company and, just see what we're all about. One thing that I love about Danielle's community, for example, and Danielle, if you listen to this is just how much I love you. I'm such an advocate of her brand. But they're called bomb ass dog parties. And they're so cool. And she has like the community walks that she does. And she'll do like, she partnered with a pet friendly hotel, right? And she has a brunch and, they're doing a Halloween party. They're doing all these themed events. And it's really stepping outside of the box. And, her target audience, of course, is pet parents, but it's to reach parents in a different space. And we can't be afraid to do that. Definitely be bold, be proud, and have a plan. So whatever your business is, if you're wanting to collaborate with other pet professionals, you can say, hey, we're going to collaborate with some groomers. So go to a grooming industry trade show, right? And still using Danielle as our example for today. But, a lot of groomers, we recommend if you want to do something natural for your pet to take the edge off for the grooming product, for the process, try CBD. If you're a veterinarian, same thing. There should be a cross reference, from your brand directly to other professionals, other people in the space. Fresh food is all of the crave right now, or I would say even raw feeding is all of, everyone's interested in wanting to learn more. You could even partner with chefs and, just figure out how to make delicious meals that you can end up cooking for yourself, and your dog. You just have to really think outside the box and spend a lot more time strategizing on what is going to work best for you and your company. It'll all make sense, but you just have to commit to doing those things.
I like that a lot. So making the plan ahead of time, being strategic, I think is so smart because I was just talking to someone the other day and they were saying that I think their sister or their sister-in-law or somebody runs a networking group of 4,000 women and they can get their message and their brand in front of these 4,000 women. But then like 5 minutes later, she was saying most of the women in that group run MLM type businesses and they weren't really the type of people, the type of business owners that she was hoping to network with. So again, like that's great. There's 4,000 people in there, but if they're not really like in alignment with you and it's not the right strategic group, then you're kind of not going to get out of it what you're hoping for. So just because there's a networking event out there, it doesn't mean that we have to go to all of them.
Yeah, it has to make sense. You don't want to have a CBD product and you are networking with a roofing company or roofers, right? It has to make sense. There has to be strategy there. You have to be able to connect the dots, right? Think of it as a puzzle. You have all these different moving parts, but collectively it should all make sense in relation to your business. If it's your personal brand, it should all tie together beautifully, at the end of the day. Be very mindful, having that strategy, being bold in your authentic self, will help you to pull it off.
I remember hearing a long time ago some advice of like going to networking events and saying, I am going to introduce myself to 5 people and then I can leave. Or something like that. So I think even setting those kind of, I love goals that have like a number attached to them because they're
Mhm.
really easy to check off and you know if you've done it or not because you either did say hi to 5 people or you didn't.
Yeah.
So doing stuff like that, I think if you're introverted, like that can kind of give you the push you need.
Yeah, absolutely. I always say, as far as like really building a strong, healthy network, depending on where you are in business, especially if you are a early startup or if you're just new to the industry and you're really just trying to work your way around, you should be networking with at least 2 to 5 people a day. 2 to 5 people. And there are so many ways you can do that. LinkedIn. Oh my God. LinkedIn is such a powerful tool, and then there you fall back into your strategy. Who can you cross connect with? How does it make sense? Do you connect with maybe an editor of of a pet magazine? You never know who you'd bump into that knows somebody that can open up a door for you, right? Honestly, sometimes I meet with people, and it might be unrelated, but I try to bring it back to pets and animals if it's outside of the pet space. Everyone's always excited, and we're all dog lovers and cat lovers and animal lovers. So I try at the end of the day to make sure that we're talking and we're building relationships with companies and brands that it makes sense for our organization, right? Like, for example, I was networking with a recent designer and she's in the UK. She's a graphic designer. I may not specifically need her right now. However, I have a whole community of people who do, right? Or you may be able to say, hey, I know someone that could use your service. Don't let it be all about you. Think about how you can help someone else in the process. Definitely soften your heart when it comes to that. Don't be so, hey, well, yeah, don't be so salesy. Nobody wants to be sold to all the time. That is a huge thing. Like, be authentic and just strive to have a genuine relationship, and just see where that goes. Don't just be chasing everybody around with your pitch deck or with your elevator speech. You're going to get, you're not going to be the cool kid at the end of the day. You're going to have a lot of people who are running away from you because you're just selling. Just introduce yourself, just say hello, would love to learn more about your company. Or if it's like, hey, we're having an event and I would just love to invite you. I heard about, your blog, would love to just, have a conversation. Have a very soft approach, right? Especially if you're networking and you're talking to maybe like a higher level executive or, someone who has like yourself, right? You have a very full schedule, you have your blog, you're at events. You have to be respectful of their time, and don't take it personal if maybe you don't get a fast response or, it don't go the way. You never know what anybody's experiencing for that day. So, nailing your elevator pitch is great. But just being soft and just being very friendly, it will get you a lot further than selling.
Yeah, I think always like, how can I help you?
Exactly.
So, like, what I hear you saying, because you'd said LinkedIn is a great place, and I'm always finding new brands. And
LinkedIn is it.
yes, I'm
It's the
always
bee's
finding
knees.
people and it recommends people that I'm like, yeah, I do want to know them.
Yeah.
But instead of just hitting that connect button, like you said, sending a little message, hi, I do this. I just found you. I'd
Yeah.
love to learn more. If you have any ideas or anything you ever need help with, I'm here, or something like that.
Yeah. I don't think that we are sometimes people struggle with just being humble and just kind, and unfortunately, we all have our busy schedules and we all have our agendas and our goals, but just really think of it as you just want to build relationships, honestly, you'll get a lot further with a spoonful of sugar. Just being kind and just say, hey, I love your work. I believe in giving people their flowers while they're still around. No one knows, their day, hour, or time. I just try to be very genuine and authentic in relationships. And just, be humble and position yourself to learn from that person or offer any assistance. Um, have a strategy. You never know when something might be a right fit. Like I network with people, it doesn't make sense at that time, but I can circle back and just say, hey, hey, Tori, we're having this event and, I would love for you to come, where it might make sense later. So, never throw anyone away. Don't burn any bridges. Just be very fluid. Just say hello. And if they're open and they're willing to continue the conversation, then you find opportunity to collaborate, take things a step further, especially if you do have that synergy there. Like right now, we're planning to do a investor event in January. And so I'm talking to just different companies where, they have access to a ton of investors. I'm like, hey, I'm having an event. I would love to invite you and members of your community. Nothing hard, nothing sales, nothing pushy. I'm hey, if they like the idea, they want to learn more, hey, well, we would love to collaborate with you. I think we have some synergy here. How can we work together? Let's jump on a call. And then you go from there.
Right.
Networking and building your own network is not as difficult as a lot of people think it might be.
So start off small. And what I also heard that I'm going to make kind of like maybe our October mission, you had said try to network with 2 to 5 people a day, which when you said that, my eyes were like, what?
Yeah, two to
But
five.
that sounds actually doable, because when you say it's just like sending a DM or sending a LinkedIn
Yeah.
message or an email or sending a little voice note. I love sending voice notes, and
Yes, very personable.
just saying hi and checking in, and it doesn't have to be like a pitch.
Right. Because at the end of the day, we're all people. We don't want to be sold to. I get that where, especially on LinkedIn, my inbox is always full, but it's very salesy and I don't feel like it's authentic. It's just almost, AI generated, and it's you ignore it, right? But if you are in a space of wanting to just authentically meet someone, just, hey, how are you? Love your work, would love to connect whenever you're available. And just leave it at that. It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be long and drawn out. Don't overthink it. Don't overthink it.
I think I'm overthinking it all the
Yeah.
time.
Just think of it this way. If your goal for you, if you have Say, hey, my goal is 4 people a day, right? You want to do 2 in the morning and 2 before you go to bed. Just inbox 2 people that you hadn't met before and just say, hey, I love your brand. Love what you're doing. Would love to connect, or however,
Yeah.
whatever
Okay,
your
we can
goal
do
is.
that. All right, everyone listening to this, this is our assignment for October.
Network minimum is, let's just say, hey, the bare minimum is 2, possibly 4.
All right, we can do that. All right. So I also, in addition to Black Pet Business Network, which is just thriving and growing, and you're always adding new things and new activities, and you have this amazing retreat vacation that you're planning for next year. But in addition to all of that, you also are coming up on 10 years of your own grooming business in Orlando. So
Yeah.
it's the Paw Shop, right?
The Paw Shop. Absolutely. Yes.
So, how has networking, collaboration, and community played a part in your success there? Because, Black Pet Business Network, it's in the name. It's all about
Right.
networking and growing your community. But for the grooming shop, how has this kind of been essential to your success?
Well, honestly, it is the tool, right? I started the network during COVID because everyone was living virtually, right? This is a little bit about my backstory. But I had everyone had to pivot their businesses, right? We were all home and
Especially grooming was hit by COVID.
yeah, yeah. And, thankfully I was able to still take care of certain clients during that time that medically, because of their skin issues that they needed a bath every week. So we were able to, come in part-time and just sneak whoever we could in. However, I started the network because I wanted to learn what my colleagues were doing in the space. And I wanted to see how I can grow, how, if I could find any strategies on how to pivot. I had to close my doors just like a lot of people. And, I relied on community, and honestly, the network was born from that because we are huge advocates, when it comes to community. We are always hosting and co-hosting community events. We're probably a little bit too much in our customers' business when it comes to, hey, how was your mom? How's your dad? Oh, you had a new baby. The kids graduated. We are like family with our customers, and I love that. I absolutely love that. So I really wanted to continue to build on that, and just it was just honestly a blessing that the network was born, honestly, from the paw shop. Um, because because of networking. I wanted to network and I wanted to learn more. I'm sorry, I'm a little distracted. Penny just had 2 more puppies.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So for everyone listening, we actually paused this interview halfway through because Lashonda's dog went into labor.
Literally, as we were talking, so this is our second take, guys. I'm sorry if I'm a little distracted, but I'm like a grandma, and I know you guys can relate and understand. But
You're gonna
yeah,
have to send us photos. I'll post photos on Instagram maybe to go along with this interview so everyone has context that like we are really multitasking right now.
right. It's literally the middle of a hurricane here. We have a hurricane, so my kids are home. There's no school. I'm doing a podcast interview. My dog started having puppies, and I just knew she would do it during the storm. It has been insane. So I'm sorry, guys. But the show must go on. I'm always committed to everything that I do. So I will
You
definitely give you the best I got.
you are so amazing. What a professional. Okay, well we will wrap it up so that you can get back to Penny because I think that you need to go
Yeah,
focus
it's like
on that.
everyone's whispering in my ear. They're like 5, 3, 2, 5, 5. I'm like, oh my god, oh my god. We've been waiting. She's been, we've been waiting for days. Like, she's been panting and just showing signs of distress. But today has been the day to have her
This
baby. So, but
this is
I'm
so
always here,
wild.
guys.
Okay, so that Lashonda can go. Um the last thing that I kind of want to wrap this up on, I think like the perfect tone to set it with is like talking with you and just listening to how the Black Pet Business Network came to be out of like this desire to see what other groomers and other shops were doing is that like we have so much more to learn from each other and we really can't think of each other as competition because the pet industry pie is big and there
It's
is
huge.
plenty for everyone.
Yeah, everyone should be Like, for example, we always encourage collaboration, right? Say if you don't feel comfortable, for whatever reason, with networking with another pet like business in your city or town, it's okay to collaborate with someone out of state, right? So, for example, I'll use myself. The paw shop, we collaborated with a friend of mine, Brian Taylor of Harlem Doggy Day Spa, the dog father of Harlem. We collaborated with him and we did like a hurricane, readiness, and it was just how to prepare. It was during a time where I think we had a couple back-to-back storms, but we had two professionals, and we wanted to educate our audience on how
And
to
what did you
prepare.
do? Like a collaboration post on Instagram or something?
No, we actually did like a little webinar workshop. We did it
Oh,
virtually. Yeah, and we just, I spoke heavily on it since, we're usually impacted by storms and hurricanes, and then we were able to share some insights and, like, hey, how to have your hurricane ready kits for your animals, what those should include, how to, because I think at that time when we did it, there was a lot of flooding and things going on. So it was like, okay, what happens, and me being in Florida, but for all the other states that are affected, for him, it was a great way to step into my community, step onto my platform, share some insights as well, feedback, because we're professionals. So don't be afraid to step out of your state, right? Or just go as far as you choose. I've collaborated and I've networked with other people out of the country. I have friends in Canada, in the UK, and we talk about pets, we talk about nutrition. It's a universal topic. I believe pet parents, they love to hear the professional perspective of different things, right? You want to hear it straight from our mouths. So being able to lean on each other's platforms, high level entrepreneurs, and just professionals, they collaborate, right? So even in the music industry, you hear the greatest, the greats, they're collaborating. You'll hear, Elton John collaborating with Michael Jackson, and it's something huge. There's no reason why we have to fight, why we can't find a common ground. Find someone where it's your vibe, and it's the same, energy that you hope to give. Don't have anybody that's too much for you or too below for you. Find someone that matches what you're doing and the style and your branding, and just grow your business, collaborate and don't be afraid of it.
yeah, I love it. Okay, well, you got to get back to these puppies, Lashonda.
Yeah.
So, tell people, how can they join the Black Pet Business Network, or like what to get
Yes.
involved?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Black Pet Business Network, I always tell people it's not a matter of being black, brown, white, green, yellow. It doesn't matter. You're welcome to join our community. We're always doing networking events. We're always open to collaborating. We do a lot of education workshops, being able to feature and, expand our network with, members, encourage them to network with maybe our corporate partners and so on and so forth. So anyone can join or get involved. Just reach out to me. You can email us at the Black Pet Business Network at Gmail. You can go to our website, which is the blackpetbusinessnetwork.com, or just professionally, even for my grooming salon, they can find me at the paw shop online .com, or we're at the underscore paw shop on all of our social media. And just don't be afraid to reach out, DM me. I'm very personable. If it's a step beyond that, I'm on LinkedIn and I live in those spaces, and who knows, I might end up being in your inbox before you're in
Well,
mine.
I was just gonna say people could count you as one of their outreaches for the day. So start with
Absolutely.
Lashonda.
Start with me, because I don't know everything, but I know somebody who does, right? I know somebody that knows somebody, and I'm always super excited, and I'm always humbled for the opportunity to help. I believe that the pet industry is amazing, it's so dynamic, and I want to do my part in giving back and making it a very diverse space. We're huge advocates for diversity, equity, inclusion, and it's not just, like I said, a matter of color, but just for everything across the board. DEI. So, I'm open. So if anybody wants to network with me, let me know. I'm your girl. I'm here for it.
All right. I'm about to see the inboxes lighting up. So thank you so much for spending time with us on this insane, busy day. And congratulations.
Insane. But I love how authentic this is going to be. So I'm excited to hear this.
Congratulations on your new grand puppies, I guess.
Yes, absolutely. We got 5. So I'm hoping one of them is a boy. So far we had three girls. I'm hoping it's a boy. My son is like, we gotta have a boy. So I'm curious to see.
Okay, good luck. Let us know how it goes, and we'll try and share some photos when I post this episode.
Excellent. Thank you. Cheers, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Some of the best conversations happen after the episode. Send me a note on Instagram at WearWagRepeat, or find even more women petpreneurs to connect with in our private Facebook group called Wear, Wag, Repeat Labs. If you want to dig into more episodes, resources to grow your business, or find a link to something we discussed, it is all right there for you at wearwagrepeat.com. I'll see you back here next Wednesday for a fresh conversation.